I tried burning 10,000 calories using VR in just 1 week, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. Now I know there are fitness influencers who do this in a single day, but I'm no athlete.
I'm a gamer.
And burning 10,000 calories is no easy feat. It's the equivalent of running 4 marathons, except I would have to do this while working a full-time job and within the confines of my 2-meter play space. It's Monday morning, and normally I try to maximize my sleep in, down a jug of coffee, and then slump off to the office. But today I have other plans. I'm going to clock a 1-hour workout using the subscription-based fitness app FitXR. So what you get access to as part of the subscription is 5 different studios, a bunch of different professional trainers, a companion tracking app, and weekly new content and updates. Now normally I gravitate more towards the boxing or combat classes. I just found them the most enjoyable and I get the best workout. But they also have sculpt where you do a bunch of lunges, squats, or those arm raises that only really burn because you do so many of them. HIIT classes, which are okay, but I feel it's just a little bit limited in VR. And I feel like this class desperately needs AR or mixed reality support to be good. And then finally, dance. Warning, the following footage involves a middle-aged white guy trying to dance in VR. Viewer discretion is advised. Yeah, I sucked at this class, and overall I'm still not convinced that the subscription is worth it. I don't really feel like it offers enough over some of the other titles we're going to be using this week, but I will say that after this first session I felt at least 10 times better than I do most Monday mornings. And a morning VR workout might just be a habit that I keep. After I got home, I got into another dedicated fitness app, this time Les Mills Body Combat. So this is a buy once game, and there's just body combat classes. I actually hadn't played this one in a couple of months, and I was quite surprised to spawn into a Lord of the Rings arena. But I think what I like most about this game are the coaches. They actually crack me up and I find them just a bit more relatable, or maybe I'm just a bit homesick and I love hearing a Kiwi cheer me on. This workout in particular was a 30-minute absolute blaster and had me completely wrecked. So after this, I just decided to put on a YouTube video and take a quick stretch before chilling for the night. At 11 PM, I came back for my final session in a mixed reality game called X-Fighter, which is essentially a rhythm boxer. And I ended day 1 with 2 hours 45 minutes in VR and burning over 800 calories, putting me in a very humble 11th place on the leaderboard. So not exactly explosive out of the gates, but for a Monday, I was feeling pretty good. Tuesday, I decided to start the day with a crowd favorite, Beat Saber. And I don't really think that Beat Saber needs any introduction at this point. It's basically, oh my god, did you just see that? For the lunchtime session, I got into a roguelike sword fighting game Until You Fall. And the whole point of this game is to die, like a lot, which I have definitely mastered. But each time you die, you come back with ether and can use it to upgrade your weapons to come back stronger than last time. Each level gets harder and harder, and you can either choose to dual wield, which will give you that choppy motion like Beat Saber, or you can grab a two-handed weapon and put your whole body into it. After that, I did a 30-minute session of Ragnarok, which is probably my favorite rhythm game of all times. I just always come back to it. Gotta be a little bit careful with the elbows though, but this one just gets me jumping. Recently, my friends and I picked up Deep Rock Galactic in the Steam Summer Sale. We've been playing this on normal flat screen games, and I was very happy to learn that they have a VR mod. And then you can also play other flat screen games that don't even have VR support. So next up, I did a TFT double up session and just kind of stretched on the side using virtual desktop. Now, obviously those last two didn't really move the needle in terms of calorie output, but hey, it's far better than just being seated. And then I finished off my night with a late night Les Mills body combat session, adding another 200 calories and bringing my daily efforts up to almost 1.2k calories and 4.5 hours spent in VR, crossing the 2000 total mark and sitting onto the podium for the first time. So in terms of which is better, dedicated fitness apps or rhythm games, if we forget about the game for a moment and just look at the two different workouts, we can see quite a big difference. I don't really think there's any arguing that shadow boxing or lunging aren't a good form of exercise. They've been used for thousands of years. But if you compare this to the motions of Beat Saber or rhythm games, yeah, maybe not as much. But what these rhythm games do have going for them is their effect on time perception. In a HIIT class in FitXR, I can really feel the time starting to drag. If you compare this to your favorite rhythm game and you're rocking out with some of your favorite songs, time will just fly by. Or Until You Fall, it really has that, oh, just one more game, one more run sort of mentality. And this is what really excites me about VR fitness. It's not about replacing traditional fitness, it's more about a fun way to get some cardio and turning my gaming addiction into something slightly more beneficial. I started the morning right with a quick stretch and a couple of rounds of Creed, where I got my butt kicked in but eventually came back for the W. For my lunchtime workout, I picked another crowd favorite, which is Pistol Whip. So this is a rail shooter and will be the closest thing you'll ever get to feeling like John Wick in VR. Oh my far out! They've recently added custom songs where you can either mod your own songs or just download it from the community playlist. And if you want to maximize the calories or intensity of the workout, there are a few modifications that I'd recommend changing. So first, body armor so you don't die and therefore you don't have to restart, more bullets, and finally vengeance. So these modifiers will increase the amount of projectiles or bullets flying at you. The result is you're going to have to do a lot more squatting, lunging, and sidestepping, which makes it a killer lower body workout. I felt like coming back for a bit more gaming before dinner, so I launched Pistol Whip up again before calling it a night. Another 1.1k calories and almost 4 hours in VR today. And while I ended Wednesday feeling great and on the path to success, I had no idea that that was all about to change. This morning I woke up in a bad way. I think the extended Pistol Whip sessions from yesterday were just a little bit too intense. My glutes, hamstrings, and quads were all completely fried, like sore to the touch, let alone trying to crouch, squat, or stand up all day playing VR. I tried to work around this by just focusing on upper body, so I picked some sword fighting games. I started off with Creeman Mercenary Tales. This is mostly a story-based comedy game, but to be fair to them, the sword play is actually pretty decent, where you can parry and then counterattack. But I do have one little problem with it, and that's just the climbing. Man, I hate climbing in VR so much. It sucks even in flat screen games. Going down ladders just gives me nightmares. But anyway, we got through a few levels and clocked another 300 calories. And then for my lunchtime session, I installed a new game that I'd never played before, which is Broken Edge. So this is a 1v1 dueling sword fighter game. And I honestly really like this, like so much that I could barely focus on my work, and I just wanted to get back into this game. And that's just something I've never said in my life about traditional workouts. I came back immediately after work and added another hour, but I was feeling really sore at this point, so we'll take our 1.2 calories, but yeah, today was a rough day. On Friday, the realization was starting to sink in that I might not actually be able to do this. I only have 3 days left and I'm not even halfway yet in terms of my calorie goal. It's also free to play Friday, so I'm restricting myself to only games that are completely free to play. Starting off, we have Moonrider, which can be accessed via web browser on virtually any headset, and it just pulls songs from Beat Saber and has 3 different modes, but by far the best is punching in my opinion. Then we have the new kid on the block, which is a 1v1 dueling shooter in the space. So Blast On was one of my favorite games, but Divine Duel looks to give it a run for its money. It's a very similar concept with slightly better art and characters in my opinion. You have to shoot your enemies with various guns and weapons that will spawn around you while they're doing exactly the same thing to you, and basically there's a bunch of different bullets, arrows, and various projectiles flying at you that result in you lunging and squatting out of the way. And now I'm at the point where I feel like I may as well not even have legs. We finished that Friday with a free boxing simulator on Steam called Punch Fit. And I was super surprised by the quality of this game, especially since they don't really have a traditional free-to-play model. Essentially, you get a combo given to you and you have to execute it. Tracks last from a couple of minutes all the way up to 30 minutes. Definitely a challenging workout. So after 5 hours in VR today, we added another 1.3 calories to the pot. There's only 2 days left, and it's a race against time to burn 4,500 calories. Basically, everything I've done so far, I'm gonna have to do again in just 2 days. I channeled all the positive energy I could muster, but I have been keeping one secret ace up my sleeve. The absolute pinnacle of VR workout games, 7 years old and to this day still the most realistic boxing simulator, Thrill of the Fight. I wanted to see if I could get through all 10 fighters in one sitting, or should I say standing. And while I was completely gassed, I did get through the majority of them without too much problem, but I knew that Moneymaker would not go down so easily. Exhausted, I was getting completely pounded in the first 3 rounds, and it wasn't until round 4 where my second win kicked in. My form had gone out the window and I just tried to finish him off with some sloppy right hooks. Not pretty, but we got it done. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I came back for 3 more long extended sessions of Beat Saber, Ragnarok, Pistol Whip, and Thrill of the Fight. This was by far my biggest day yet, 2.2 thousand calories burnt and over 6.5 hours spent in VR today. And I'm gonna have to do it all again tomorrow. This is it. My legs still haven't come back, and now I can barely move my arms from all the boxing and rhythm games yesterday. All the positivity from yesterday was gone too. So I decided that pure rage and hatred would be the only thing to get me through the morning session. I booted up Blade and Sorcery and unleashed carnage on some unsuspecting NPCs. After some coffee, I came back to Beat Saber, but I just felt flat, like I was going to need to rethink my strategy. I tried to hit some legs with Pistol Whip, but it was just nasty and I was really struggling here too. So I moved over to Ragnarok to eke out any more calories I could. With just a few hours to spare, I can think of no better way to finish this challenge than surviving 12 rounds with Moneymaker in the dungeon. And looking back at this footage, it's so funny. I look so unco, and literally holding up those, 200-gram controllers was an absolute battle. All I wanted to do was quit, but I kept going. But after 7 hours in VR today, bringing my total time in VR this week to over 34 hours. We've done it. 10,000 calories on the Pico and a very comfortable global #1. I think I've finally deserved a shower. I'm just joking, I'll shower next week. And if you want to see my results from working out in VR every day for a year, then make sure to subscribe.